The Withered Isle is a realm in Dead by Daylight, and you can go to said realm by using the Icarus Loom offering. This will send you to one of four maps. The maps being either Fallen Refuge, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Garden of Joy, or Greenville Square. And my problems with each of the map, I'll go through them one by one, is overall they're all just bad on both rules. We'll be 100% honest. When you see that offering, you are gambling with the fucking gods. You are making a deal with the devil. For Fallen Refuge, for example, that map has two guaranteed 3 gens, as well as just one extra tile as a main building. So not only do you have 2 3 gens, you also have no main building. Main buildings on like every map are like the most abusable thing ever, and they're really good for the survivors, like 9 times out of 10. But you don't get that with Fallen Refuge. You get a small map, 2 3 gens, and no main building. It is like the ultimate disaster for Survivor. And for Killer, that map is great like 99% of the time. The only like real problem is actually there's two. Hitboxes are a lot different than they look. So if you play like a killer like Bubba, like Billy, a projectile killer like Huntress, you're more likely to hit some like invisible hoodiki that's just like standing that you just can't see. But the other problem is just the fog. You can't really see like anything. It's really hard to see more than like 3 meters ahead of you. Then Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, right? First off, it should have got its own realm. I don't know why they just plopped it on fucking Greenville Square. But that map is honestly like really bad for both roles. For those who don't know, pre-nerf or pre-pallet density buff, pre-pallet density buff, the middle of the map had like 4-6 pallets, which was good against like all M1 killers. Against M2 killers, they just hit you over, so you wouldn't want to play there. Now that they added more pallet density, they removed the pallets in the middle of the map. So if you're a survivor and you run to the middle, like if you run out of main building, you don't have anything. You have just nothing. You're just like a fucking helpless baby fucking walking in the middle of a street. But you have nothing there. But the main building, let's talk about that. That main building is disgusting, especially against like 4-4 killers. If you go against like a Deathslinger, a Chucky, oh my god, you're gonna annihilate them. You're gonna rail them. It's such a good main building. The windows are all good, especially if in the ball pit room you get the window vaults over the pallet. That's way better. You can play the entire building just way more efficiently if you have that and if you're good at heartbeat reading. The edges of the map have jungle gyms, and with the new pallet density, the pallets kind of are the same. There's just more double pallets, which is really annoying for killer. But honestly, most of them aren't bad if you're playing like any killer above B tier. But if you're playing killers below B tier, like Skull Merchant or Trapper, like you can't do anything. Like you kind of have to just start eating pallets and fucking munching on them. For you to eventually win. But if you do that, you'll lose because, you know, generators are a thing. Another problem with that map, honestly, is just like it's jungle gyms. I feel like its jungle gyms are like unnecessarily large. Like they just decided to like extend them like just a little bit more, so it just takes a lot longer to catch up as killer. And then you can't even bloodstain. Okay, I actually almost forgot about this. You can't even bloodstain fake on them for 2 reasons. One, you can look straight through the walls. Like there's gaps in the walls. And initially I thought it was gonna be hard to do. No, it's actually you can see through the wall while moving. And then 2, your heart stain bleeds through the wall. So like the wall just turns red if you look at it. So you have to bloodstain fake, but you have to turn the other direction. So, like, that's just terrible. Honestly, that's probably my last complaint with that map. Aesthetically, the main building is great. I really like it. I think it's really cool. It does suck that they just kind of plopped the map on Withered Isle and didn't give it like a Bad Ham type thing in the movie. Because, like, I think the building was in a parking lot, if I do remember correctly. So it would have been cool to see, like, a parking lot and maybe, like, some construction working and stuff, something like that. Like, you know, just not Greenville. But talking about Greenville, holy hell, this map is terrible for both sides for a number of reasons. One, there's a guaranteed 3-gen, once again. I think it's a 4-gen, actually, in the middle of the map. Survivors need to break that. If they do statue gen, if they do main gen, they kind of lose the game. But if they don't do those gens, the killer will lose the game. If the team, that's the thing. You could sacrifice like 6 hook stages to get the 4-gen in the middle of the map broken. But once it's broken, you pretty much win the game. Because every killer, besides like Nurse, gets just bullied at the main building. Because it's so large, you're just able to hear with heartbeat reading where the killer's coming from. So you know what direction to go to. And then you're just safe there. At least if the killer does commit to you, you're guaranteed like a minute chase. And a minute is a fucking long time. And that's a minute for like even the worst players, in my opinion. So yeah, you really like once you lose your 4-gen, it's kind of wraps. But if that map creates a terrible gameplay loop for both roles. Because to officially play that map on both sides is to, one, as the killer, hold down your 4-gen, which is fucking boring. And then for Survivor, it's to press the 4-gen, and then to pre-run the moment you figure that the killer is either coming in direction or turning around. It's not fun. Like, I don't want to sit there and kick gens for 90 fucking minutes. I don't want to kick pallets for 90 minutes. I doubt the Survivor want to redo the same gen for 90 minutes. Like, it's a very unenjoyable gameplay loop. And depending on what happens throughout that game, whether it's the main and statue gen are done or the 4-gen is broken, it just immediately decides the outcome of the match. Which I feel like also just shouldn't be a thing. I feel like just because you did 1-gen or the killer made you do 1-gen, you just the game shouldn't be in their favor. But maybe that point is a little weak, but I don't know. It's just the map, the way the map is shaped makes it like impossible as a survivor to like want to do the middle gens, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want to go into the circle bubble of his 4-gen, but you have to go to his circle bubble of the 4-gen or you'll lose, right? For example, I was doing a all perk streak with a couple of my friends, and we had a Myers, right? And the Myers started off great. He got like a down like 40 seconds in. We were on the statue gen. We were going to leave the main building gen because that's a lot safer. We took 6 hooks at 5 gens. But throughout that time, we were chipping away at the middle gen. And once we finally got it done, gen after gen after gen after gen popped. And he would have lost the game, but my computer crashed, so I disconnected. But like you see, like once he loses his 3-gen, which after 8, I think it's 8, right? 8-gen kicks, the Myers can no longer control. He just loses the game. There's nothing he could do. Now the map is too wide. The map was too small for the survivors, and then now it's too wide for the killer. But going on to the next map, Garden of Joy. I remember when this map came out. I went, wow, this is the worst map in DBD history. Oh, I wish I could still say that. Since Garden of Joy, we've gotten Greenville, which we just is a terrible map. Freddy Fazbear, the main building is so abusable, and then the middle of the map is barren. Fallen Refuge, need I say more? Then we got Shattered Square and Forgotten Ruins. Forgotten Ruins being one of the most killer-sided maps, if not the most killer-sided map of the game. We have Toba Landing and Nostromo. So when you look at Garden of Joy, you go, it's not that bad. It could be worse. And it's so, like, shitty that we have to think that way. We have to go, do I want evil or more evil? Garden of Joy, on the killer perspective, before the palette density change, was a insane fucking map. If you had more than 2 brain cells working for you, you could very easily make that map fucking work wonders for you as a survivor. The map itself is a fairly like average size and shape, or average. So yeah, average size. It's got the parking lot in the bottom left corner, which is a really strong jungle gym, even against like 4/4 and projectile killers. Then you have the main building. The main building is so fucking insane. Like, I don't think people talk about Garden of Joy's main building enough. Garden of Joy's main building is really fucking strong. Then we have you know, Shack. And Shack used to be like the dead zone, you know? Shack, it was like, oh, you walk to Shack, after you drop that pallet, you're gonna die, right? So as the killer, it's like, okay, I don't want to take chase here, but I probably should, because once it's gone, it's GG's, it's over, right? But with the new pallet density changes, I think most times out of 10, it is no longer a safe spot. I think this is one of the bad RNGs where the pallet didn't spawn here. There's usually either a pallet or a double pallet here. But you see what I like. So you play Shack, you drop the God pallet, and then you move on to a double pallet, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The main road's always been strong. This is like usually what, 2 to 4 pallets. You have the car pallet, which is fairly good because the range killers can't like hit over the top that way. They have to like get you that way. Jungle gyms right next to said pallet, like dude, they're kissing each other. They're making out. This new tile, by the way, oh my god, I might have to make a video on this one because Jesus Christ, this tile is so fucking in the survivor's favor. As long as that pallet is up, I promise you, if that pallet stays up, you're in a great fucking spot. Honestly, just greet it every time. Just take the hit. Because like that mere pallet's presence is enough to like cause a disturbance in the force. But when you get the pallets over here, which usually are like pretty fine, but then you look at them and then you see that hitbox? That fucks over both killer and survivor, by the way. This isn't something that just fucks over a killer. The hitbox is so deceiving. It's so much larger than it is, and that's a very common trope on this map. There is so many things that have bigger hitboxes than they like visually lead onto. Then you have this pallet, which is honestly, it's a fairly average pallet. Like if the killer effectively mind games you, they will tend to get the hit, and if you lose the mind, or if you win the mind game as survivor, then you probably will get away for another 10 seconds. Yeah, then we come to fucking main building, right? These, don't look at this pallet. This pallet is usually useless. If that window spawns there, way better. But you have the God pallet there. You have the upstairs windows. You have 3 of them. And then you have these windows. You can, especially if you have like balanced, oh my god. Or if you use fixated, you can break chase with fixated. And then balance, you can just get like an extra like 2 loops in. You can play this main building in such a way where the killer like physically can't get you, especially if you have fixated. It's insane, right? But this part of the map has usually, and I think it still is, like the dead zone. I think occasionally pallets will spawn like back there, but like usually that's pretty much like the spot you want to go as a killer. You want to force chases there. But like this side of the map has always been, in my opinion, I think the most fair. I think maybe like one more like really shitty pallet like right here, and then like it would be good. I think this side of the map is really perfectly fine on both roles. Shack is fine when there's no double pallet here or a single pallet here, but when there's not, I think it's fine. Like Shack should also be a dead zone. Then you come to mid map, like look at all of the pallets in just this area alone, right? Honestly, the RNG is pretty bad. This is typically also another double pallet. Yeah, and then we go to parking lot, right? You can chain. There's usually a jungle gym. Depending if you get lucky enough, you'll actually get a window right here. You'll get a window right here. So you could chain this window into this pallet, into this window, into that pallet. It didn't happen this time. But if you get good enough RNG, you can. Then you have a TL wall chaining into another pallet, which is just terrible for the killer. Because, like, if you respect the wrong way once, you're kind of screwed. This side of the map is also usually a dead zone. You know. Oh, they added another pallet here. Okay, that's no. I've only ever seen, like, one pallet in this corner. This pallet, it's honestly fairly good. Because you can see through the walls. So, like, you can make a lot happen, especially as a survivor. But, like, I think this map is a, like, perfect example of fucking lower tier killers in the ass but buffing higher tier killers, right? It buffs higher tier killers, and I say that because once, like, Blight, right? Blight gains more momentum as the game goes on. The more pallets he breaks, the stronger he gets. And when you start taking away all of those god pallets and all those pallets chaining into each other, you can't really do shit against the Blight. Nurse doesn't give a shit if you have a pallet or not, right? So, and then it's not big enough to the point where it's like she can't get across the map in time, right? I think it's like the perfect size to where it takes her like 3 blinks, maybe 4 blinks to get from side of the map. So, for a Nurse, it's fine, right? For Dracula, he could just TP upstairs main, block your fucking window. You're taking the hit. You can't play main against Jack because he'll block your fucking windows, assuming he has Lapis. But you should. Best add-on, by the way. What's another A-tier killer? Billy. Billy is probably the only one that actually does get screwed because of the hitboxes. There's a lot of funky hitboxes on that map. But, like, when the hitboxes aren't fucking him over, he's pretty much fine. Krasu actually gets screwed on by the shitty pallets. What I mean by that is all of, like, the one in the mid street with, like, the rocks, she gets messed up by those because of the reduced turn rate that they implemented on her. I have found a flick that actually does work around it. However, it's basically a mind game when you flick. You're just kind of, you face one direction and you turn around and you flick the other way. And you kind of hope they don't react in time, because if they do, holy shit, that's crazy on their part. But you can hit around those. It's just very hard. Then, like, Ghoul, especially if he has, like, Centipede, doesn't really fucking matter. Singularity, if he has good pod placement, really doesn't matter. Because I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure there's pods on that map that, like, monitor, like, the entirety of, like, the mid-map. I could be wrong. I think I remember something like that. But, yeah, like, Singularity is going to be fine on that map. Especially, like, once he starts shredding those pallets, he's pretty much fine. But, like, you see what I mean? Not put a trapper on that map. He has to trap in main building two of those windows. When he gets to Shack, he has to trap. He can't trap both because he doesn't have enough traps now. He's got to trap Shack, right? We'll say he's playing on Shack's side. Actually, he will double trap Shack, right? So he double traps main, he double traps Shack. He's gonna leave the parking lot side of the map. He's gonna trap 2 of the 3 pallets that spawn in mid map. He's gonna trap the pallet that spawns outside of Shack. He's gonna trap the pallets deep, like, right corner, right? Now, he has no traps, but there's still more pallets than vaults. See, that's the problem. Like, when you're a lower tier killer, all of those pallets and vaults become a fucking huge problem, right? Like, what is Skull Merchant supposed to do against that? Nothing. She really can't. Like, at least Trapper can, like, negate the amount of windows you got. At least temporarily, unless someone starts disarming them. But, like, Skull Merchant just has to fucking eat them. Like, there's nothing she can do. Ghostface, there's nothing he can do about it. Bubba gets fucked by collision and the amount of pallets. But yeah, that's just my little rant about the Withered Isle Realm. Honestly, my least fucking favorite in the entire game, which sucks because you know, I love Springtrap, I love FNAF. But if you guys want to go check out the Twitch, I'm gonna probably be live there today. You know, cheeky little self promo. We're gonna be live today. We're gonna play some DBD, and then we're gonna go on to probably some horror game. But I appreciate you guys for watching the video. I hope all of you guys have a good day, night, afternoon, wherever you may be. And I hope to see you guys later on the Twitch. Have a good one.